I'll never forget the day I realized my wife, Jenna, was cheating on me. It felt like the floor dropped out from under my feet, leaving me suspended in raw disbelief. We'd been married for almost a decade, and for all that time, I believed we were partners working toward the same future. She was the outgoing one with the big ideas, the kind of woman who could walk into any room and command attention. I was more reserved, content to pour my energy into our home, our finances, and our dreams of success. But while I was busy making sacrifices, Jenna was plotting her own exit strategy: secret accounts, secret plans, and a secret lover who gave her the thrill she apparently couldn't find in our marriage. It started with little clues. Late-night phone calls she brushed off as work emergencies, receipts for expensive lunches with friends I'd never met, her sudden enthusiasm for networking events that ran way past midnight. My gut told me something was off, but I tamped it down out of love and trust. Then I found the messages on her phone, flirty texts, pictures, and confessions I couldn't unread, confirming she was fooling around with a slick, smooth-talking colleague. I felt a storm of emotions course through me that night: heartbreak, anger, and the cold determination to show her exactly who she'd betrayed. So I played along, letting her believe I was clueless, that I was just the dull, loyal husband she took for granted. Meanwhile, I gathered every scrap of evidence: their dinner dates, the money she siphoned from our joint business account, the times she used my car to meet him at hotels, the bank records tying her to an account I never even knew existed. And here's the kicker: much of what she thought was ours was really in my name, thanks to the way we'd originally structured our finances for tax benefits. She assumed that if she left me for her new man, she could walk away with half of everything we built. She had no idea I was about to pull the rug out from under her. I waited for the perfect moment to drop the bomb: an evening we'd scheduled to meet with a realtor about a commercial property we planned to invest in. Jenna showed up with that smug smile of hers, probably imagining how she'd lock in another asset before running off with her lover. Little did she know, I'd already canceled the deal behind her back. As we sat in the office, I slid a folder across the table that contained screenshots of her texts, photos of her sneaking around, and receipts for stolen business funds. Her face went pale, her confident veneer cracking as she realized I knew everything. Then, in the calmest voice I could muster, I explained that I'd already restructured our finances, closed the joint accounts she'd been siphoning, and left her with essentially nothing. I told her if she tried to fight me on it, I'd expose everything to her employer, her precious circle of professional friends, and the rest of the world if I had to. The realtor stared in awkward shock, and Jenna just sat there, speechless, tears welling up in her eyes. But I didn't feel pity. Not after the lies she told me, not after how she used my support and hard work to fund her secret lifestyle. I left her in that office, collapsed against a desk, realizing that everything she'd built atop my efforts was about to crumble at her feet. Over the next few days, I methodically dismantled the life she'd grown so proud of. I took back control of our business, informed my lawyer of the fraud she committed by forging my signature on loan documents, and told our closest friends and family the truth of why our marriage was imploding. Some of them were horrified, others were skeptical until they saw the evidence. Her lover? He bailed the moment the money dried up. And Jenna was left with no safety net, no sympathy, and no illusions about who truly held the power all along. She tried calling me, sending tearful voicemails begging me not to go through with the legal action that would strip her of every remaining asset, but I never wavered. I wanted her to watch it all go up in smoke: the dream house we once planned to buy, the business accounts she'd counted on, the social connections she thought were guaranteed. Every key she once had became useless. Every friend she'd bragged to now saw her for the schemer she was. The day the final paperwork went through, I let her stand in the driveway of what used to be our house, staring at the moving truck carrying away her possessions to a storage unit she couldn't afford. I was calm, numb in a way, as she sobbed that she'd made a mistake. There was no satisfaction in her tears, only a quiet sense of release for me. Because she needed to understand that betraying my trust, stealing my hard-earned money, and mocking my devotion had consequences. She expected an emotional meltdown or a meek acceptance, But she got neither. She got a cold, calculated revenge that left her with nothing but the clothes on her back and the shame of what she did. Some might say I went too far, but they didn't live the nights I spent working overtime while she laid plans to flee with my sweat and blood. They didn't feel the stabbing pain of realizing the woman you loved, the partner you built everything with, was laughing behind your back with another man. In the end, she watched, helpless, as I tore down the empire she thought she was entitled to, every brick paid for by my sacrifices. Walking away that day, I felt a strange weight lift off me. It wasn't joy, exactly, more like relief. I was free from the poison of a marriage built on lies, free to rebuild my life without the constant doubt or manipulations. And if Jenna learned one thing from the ruins of our marriage, it was that you never, ever underestimate the person who stood by you when you had nothing. Because sometimes the quietest husband can become your worst nightmare when pushed too far.